Am I live? Please mention on chat if you can see me. So just give me 2 minutes. I'll start in 2 minutes. Meanwhile, you can ask your friends to join as well if they might benefit from this session. I'll start in maybe a minute or so. Okay. Before we start, would just like to know like the demography of the audience here. So, are you college students? If you are college students, which year are you from, or are you a working professional? And if you are working professional, where are you working right now? Please let me know in chat. Okay, so I can see that they are final year students mostly, and Dharmesh is also here, who is working at Kareem and is my friend. Okay, second year students, third year students working at Accenture. Okay. So I'm assuming that most of you are either college students or working at a service-based company and want to move to a product-based company as a software developer. So that's what I'll be talking about today. So without further ado, let's start. So, like our discussion will be on project ideas that will help build your software developer resume so that you can get into a product-based company. So, how I'll take this forward is I basically have written an article on this earlier. I'll be taking points from that. I'll also be taking some examples based on uh, how we used these project ideas during our bootcamp. So, I'll take those examples. Maybe I'll show you a few websites as well so that you can get an idea of how you can use those ideas to create your own projects. So let's start. So what like before we start, uh, like before we learn about the different things that you might want to build, I would want to share with you a few things that you should not build, few things that you should keep in mind while you are building projects. Like because I'm sure that many students do these things and like waste their time doing those projects or waste their time not doing the projects that they should be doing that might actually help their resume. So let's first talk about that. I've done project reviews before. I've seen people post about their projects on LinkedIn, and many a times those are just projects that they've copied from someone else, either from someone else's GitHub and showing it as their own project, or maybe doing a seeing a YouTube tutorial and doing what the YouTube basically the YouTuber built. They just copy the exact code and put it as their own project. Do not do that. Like interviewers will get to know that it's a copied project just by looking at the code or by they are also on LinkedIn and they would definitely come across the same project from different people. So do not copy paste code. Create your own projects. That's my first point. Second is do not create a project just based on some library and not doing anything yourself. So like last year, I guess it was pretty popular when invisibility cloak, or everyone was creating an invisibility cloak. So that just uses some library code and creates your project. You do not need to do anything yourself. Do not do those stuff. Like when you are creating a project and putting it in your resume, the interviewers or the hiring manager would like to see the demo, would like to see the code as well. And if they open your code and they see that you have not done anything here, you have just called a library and that's it, that's not going to get your project selected. That's not going to get you shortlisted. And most of the people do it for MLA projects because they seem cool. Do not do that. Like you do not need a cool project. You actually need a project that shows that you know how to develop stuff. Do not look for resume worthy projects. I know this session might seem like you are going to get resume worthy projects. No, we are not going to talk about resume worthy projects. We are going to talk about projects that would actually show that you know how to develop stuff. They won't be cool projects or anything. They would just show that you know how to develop stuff, or they would help you learn software development. Like first, we'll be talking about smaller projects, and then only we'll be moving to bigger projects. So the smaller projects will help you learn development so that while you're doing the bigger projects, it's easier for you to develop those stuff. Otherwise, just starting with the bigger projects, which most people do, it's very, very difficult to complete those projects. And either you'll create a bad project or you'll leave it in between. So a good idea is to start with smaller projects and then move to bigger projects. Finally, do not go for MLAI project unless you are very, very interested in it and you're 100% sure that that's what you want to pursue in your career. So during our time as well, now as well, and I think 4 years before us as well, MLAI was the coolest stuff that was there, and everyone used to build MLAI projects only. But that does not help because everyone is doing that only. It's not helping you stand out. So, if possible, avoid MLAI projects. I'm not saying that that is something that you should not do. If you are very, very interested in MLAI and you're sure that you want to pursue that in your future, then go for it. Otherwise, don't. Web development is much easier and will also help you show the skills that you are getting hired for, which is mostly full stack development or front end development or back end development. So, mostly go for web development or app development projects. So, this is the basic thing that I wanted to talk to you before moving to the project ideas. Any questions as of now? You can share on chat if you have any questions. I'll pick it up. Okay, so I don't see any questions as of now. Maybe there's a delay. I'll just move ahead. So let's talk about project ideas. Uh, so let's first talk about how to decide which project to pick up. So as I mentioned, start with smaller projects. Start with projects that might be real products that you use. Just to take an example, maybe create a clone of, let's say, Messenger, or let's say create a clone of Mintra, or let's say create a clone of IMDb or Goodreads, whatever you use. Basically, whatever website you use, create a small clone of that. Basically, you cannot create Amazon in a month, but you can create a small miniature version of that with very few features. And when you have time, when you want to build a much bigger project, try adding more features to that. uh, it's just that start with a smaller version but build something where you do not have to think about the designs, where you do not have to think about the ideas. Everything is in front of you. Basically, you are getting a requirement and you are building that. That's what you should start with. And in general, what an SD1 does at a job is basically they get a requirement or they get a backend solution, mostly from senior engineers. In few cases, they also think about it and they build whatever requirement they are given. So that's what you are supposed to do when you are basically looking for project ideas uh, and you want to get hired as an SD1, which is generally the entry level job role for a software developer. So basically, get a requirement and build whatever the requirement says. Either that requirement could be a proper requirement, or it could be a website that you use, or an app that you use, and try to create a small clone of that. So I'll be talking about a few ideas based on that. So someone asked, how about forked projects? Do not like unless you are doing open source contribution, do not build upon forked projects. What you can do is you can pick up someone else's project and add features on top of that. But when you're writing that on your resume, write about the features that you have built and do not say that you built this entire project. So this was the question. So that's my answer to that. Now coming to how to get started with that. Start with basic projects, very basic projects. Like you do not need to create an e-commerce website as your first project. You can start with a very basic project like a portfolio website. So what's a portfolio website? It's just a website which tells a few things about you, the projects that you have done. Initially that would be empty, but with time you will start adding projects to that. Maybe your contact information, your LinkedIn, GitHub links, all of those stuff. That's your portfolio website. That's a very simple website. You just need to know HTML and CSS to create that. If you want to use JavaScript, you can do that as well, but just HTML CSS is enough to create a portfolio website. So in our bootcamp, that's the that's the second project that the students in our bootcamp do, and that takes around 2 to 3 days. That's it. If you know HTML CSS, or if you want to build your first project, pick up this project, portfolio website, and you can maybe learn HTML CSS for that, or if you already know, you can use that to build it. I'll just show you a basic requirement that we use in our bootcamp. You can decide your own design as well, or you can go ahead with this. That's also fine. You should not spend a lot of time on thinking about the ideas or the designs. Just pick whatever is available and implement it. It's pretty slow, I guess. Okay, so it's open now. So this is a basic portfolio website that we use in our bootcamp. People are free to use their own designs as well. So just a header, some navigation links, home, articles, projects, contact, basic articles, contact details, then the projects, then basic information. That's it. If you are able to do this, you will have a basic idea of HTML, CSS, and maybe JavaScript as well. So that should be enough to get started. Like I'm saying it again, do not go for a very big project at the beginning. Go for a very small one, something that you can build in a week or so. When you're starting, even these small projects might take some time, but build something that you can build in a week or so, maybe in 2 to 3 days also. That's also fine, but start small. Like unless you start small, it's very difficult to go big. So you take baby steps and climb to the top. uh, First portfolio website, you can find the link of this here. So I'll share the article at the end of the video. I'll also put it in the description. Then personal blog, just add a personal blog to it. You can use some open source library like Ghost or something, or you can build your own as well. Like in this case, in our website, it's our own personal blog. You can create your own blogging framework as well, or you can use you can use an open source one. Both are fine. Then utility web apps or mobile apps. So if you are building utility web apps, that will help you a lot in learning JavaScript. So this is our major project for JavaScript in the bootcamp. This is what we do. So I'll just show you the requirements. So what are utility apps, or also known as developer tools? Basically, uh, as a developer, you might want to use different kinds of websites for different stuff that will make your work faster. As developers, we do not want to do stuff manually. So there are different websites which help us uh, do some work using scripts or anything like that. So for that, there are utility apps or developer tools. I'll just show you a few examples. Uh, just like this. So URL encoder, decoder. So this is on our own website. Basically a way to encode or decode URL, then MD5 hash generator. I'm not sure if you'll understand these things right now, but once you start building, you'll get an idea of it. Then RGB to hex converter. RGB hex are basically ways to denote numbers. So you can create something like this. These are very basic projects and will help you a lot in understanding HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Timestamp converter, epoch converter, very useful for developers. Different kinds of converters. So this is also a very good project. So basically length converter, weight and mass converter, temperature converter, different stuff that you can build. Would take very less time, but will help you a lot in understanding JavaScript. Text tools will help you learn the string functions that JavaScript provides. Timer and stopwatch, it will help you understand set timeout, set interval, all of those stuff. Basically, kind of intermediate JavaScript stuff. Where is what is my IP basically? This the thing that you see here, you can actually build this by using some API. So this will help you understand how to how to use some API on your website. Basically, different kind of stuff. The idea for each of them is to learn how to build stuff using HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Design is again not a very big thing here. You can copy any of the websites that you see here and build whatever that they have done. It's just that the code should be your own. So this is utility apps. This is a very major project in our bootcamp. Then basic games. If you want to build some games to get interested in development, you can build something Sudoku, Tic Tac Toe, 20 for it. Very basic games. Once you get the hang of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you can build that pretty easily. Maybe card games or number games, word games. So these things will help you build some logic as well. Then RSS reader or data visualizer. I'll give you an example of this. So what is RSS reader? So if you see this link, uh, most websites put an rss.xml file on their website. What you can do is you can read this file and you can create a way to basically go through all the articles that are here. So these are all the articles on a website. You can show that in a basically in a UI of your choice. That's kind of an RSS reader. Then data visualizer. This is also a project that we do in our bootcamp. This project, the idea behind this project is to actually make sure that you are able to convert exact requirements to a proper website. I'll show it to you what it is. So basically, you create a website like this, which takes a username, basically a GitHub username, and creates a profile of that user. Basically, you can add certain kind of information like GitHub ID, LinkedIn ID, CodeChef, HackerRank, Twitter, Medium, and then finally display the user profile of that user. So this is a data visualizer based on the GitHub API. So this is also something that you can do. This will help you in two things. First is knowing how to uh, convert exact requirements with designs into proper websites, and also it will help you understand how to use APIs. So these are basic projects that you should start with. I'm not saying these are the projects that should be in your resume. It can be in your resume, but these are the ones that you should start with and then move on to the bigger projects. Okay, someone asked a very good question. Is working on CSS worth it? It takes time and effort, I guess. So to start with, create your own CSS. Do not use Bootstrap or Tailwind or any of the libraries. Learn how to create CSS because most web developers get stuck in CSS. It's just that if you understand CSS well, which most people don't, I also don't understand CSS very well, but I understand it to a certain extent. If you know that, you can navigate, you can basically create websites much more easily compared to not knowing CSS at all. So my suggestion is for the basic projects, write your own CSS. Once you are used to writing CSS, once you understand the basic idea behind CSS, then you can start using Bootstrap or Tailwind or any of the libraries that are there. Okay. Now coming to big project ideas. Before that, any questions? I'm open to taking up questions. So this question: suppose I'm building an e-commerce website, then how I can build backend front-end logic for new feature? Maybe we'll talk about that while we are talking about the big project ideas. Uh, yeah, so Praful has the answer for it. Break down big problems into smaller ones, divide using divide and conquer. But we'll talk about that. How to master API and front end and back. Okay, so this is a good point. Do not focus on mastery while you are beginning. Focus on learning, focus on growing day per day, project per project. Mastery comes later. Like if you keep on doing that, you will definitely achieve mastery in some time. But do not go behind that. Go behind learning step by step and getting better every day. Okay. So let's move to bigger project ideas. So, what's the idea behind bigger project ideas is that you created the basic projects. Now you understand HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and maybe React as well. Like the developer profile that I showed in our bootcamp, we built it using the React instead of HTML, CSS, JavaScript. We just use React because by then people have a good mastery over HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So you can do it using React or without React as well. Both are fine. Now coming to education, basically bigger project ideas. Before that, so there was this question that I picked up: Is working on CSS worth it? So for many front-end interviews, you are not allowed to use any library. You have to build basic websites, basically based on the requirements, using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript only. And you cannot use any library. So you definitely need to understand how to work with CSS. So it's generally in the front-end machine coding round. Another good question: Do we need to write test cases as we create a new feature? Depends on you. If you want to work with test cases, it's fine. In our bootcamp, we do not do test cases, just to save time and focus on learning the core concepts, because testing can be learned later as well. It's not a big thing. When you join a company, you will definitely get to learn about that. It's definitely going to add value to your resume, but can be skipped. Like in the interest of time, you can skip learning testing as well, because you are going to anyway learn it. uh, how to get rid of tutorial hell? Start building. Start with the smaller projects that won't require you to go through tutorials. If you start with a bigger project, then definitely you are going to get stuck in tutorial hell. But for smaller projects, you do not need to watch a lot of tutorials. And the tutorial hell is one of the biggest problem for people who are just starting with development. That's why my suggestion is always to start with smaller projects. What if we don't want to go in depth of development and instead what want to make a project just for resume shortlisting? That's what I am talking about. You can go into depth of development only if you are willing to spend more than 1 year doing development only. If you're not willing to do that, you are never going to build depth in it, and you'll be building projects just for resume shortlisting. So whatever I'm talking about in the bootcamp also, we do projects on development for 3 months. That's it. So that's mostly for resume shortlisting and also to build some depth in development. When they join a job, they can get into more depth depending on the requirements. But 3 months is something that you should definitely put into development. Coming to bigger project ideas is basically which would require you to spend around a week or maybe 2 week, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, depending on how many features you want to add or how big you want your project to be. So whatever examples that I'll take can have a very basic version, can be very, very big, can be projects that might require thousands of engineers, even more than that, and might require years of building those stuff. So what we are focusing on right now is basically basic features for the websites we talk about. So first one, that is one of my favorites, and we do it in our bootcamp as well, which is rating and review website. I'm sure you have used a few of these websites already. IMDb for finding good movies, and also for putting your own rating and reviews. Then Goodreads for books, Practo for doctors, hospitals, Glassdoor for companies, TripAdvisor for hotels, destinations, Zomato for restaurants, Amazon reviews is there, Google business. There are a lot of different stuff that are there where you can rate and review certain products. So basically, that's a rating and review website or rating and review app. That is a good project to build because that will help you understand a lot of stuff regarding front end, regarding backend, regarding session management, databases, and a lot of different stuff. So this is the project that we use in our bootcamp after we teach a database and session management. Before that, people already learn about front end and backend. This is when people learn about session management and databases. So I would highly recommend you to build this project once you have spent certain amount of time building smaller projects with whatever you have learned previously. So you can pick up any idea, like you can build an IMDb clone or a Goodreads clone or a Factor clone. So in our bootcamp, many people built IMDb clones, and a few people built Tractor clone as well. So like pretty good projects that were built out of it. You can build anything, you can create your own design as well, but I recommend against it if you don't have much time in your hand. This project at a smaller version can be built in a week or so. If you want to make it big, you can spend months on it, and you can even uh, try to make it a real startup or a real product that people start using. So basically, the basic idea would be that people should be able to view the details of the product, view the ratings and reviews, view the average rating, should be able to rate and review the product. Basically, after logging in, a logged out user should not be allowed to do that. They should be able to look at a list of products and basically basic data about those products. So that's the basic idea behind rating a review website. After that, after you build the basic version, what are the things that you can do if you want to make it bigger? You can allow sorting the list based on different criteria. You can allow pagination. Basically, in a single page you see 10 results, in the next page 10 results, and so on. You can show a bunch of different product details. You can even show basically recommendations. So in IMDb, you must have seen that if you open a movie, you would be shown recommendations based on your past usage, or maybe based on that movie itself. So these are bigger ideas that you can do later. So definitely try it out. It's a very good project to build your development skills. One thing that I forgot to mention earlier, whatever you are building, you should put it on GitHub. It should be publicly accessible. You should deploy it. For front-end projects, you can deploy it on Netlify. For back-end projects or full stack projects, you can deploy it on Heroku. If you are comfortable with AWS or Azure or GCP, you can do there as well. But for beginners, Netlify and Heroku are good places to do this. Alvin, if possible, can you share the link of Netlify and Heroku here in the chat? Okay. So I talked about rating and review website. Then what you can also build is an OTT platform, a basic, very basic OTT platform, or maybe a educational website, basically where you basically pick up videos from YouTube, embed it on your website in a way that it seems like an OTT platform. Like maybe you can build a course version. Let's say you want to create a website for software developers, so you can create different courses based on playlist of different people. Basically, pick up the best videos for each topic, create a course like structure out of it, put some data, put some description, allow people to rate it, review it, do different kind of stuff, and create a basic educational website out of it. Or maybe you can create an OTT platform out of it. Basically, maybe an OTT platform for short movies. You can get short movies on YouTube. You just embed it on your website and create it in such a way that it looks like an OTT platform and people can use it. Maybe a Netflix or short videos, something of that sort. You can extend it to allow ratings and reviews that you learned here. You can add trailers. You can basically add movie recommendations or different kind of stuff. This can be a very small project. This can be a very, very big project, depending on how much time you are able to put in. What I would recommend you to do is start with the basic projects. Then in the big project ideas, also create a basic version of it with the entire full stack, with front end, back end, database, then session management, everything. Create the basic version of all the bigger websites, and then start adding more features to it, based basically depending on whichever project you find the most interesting. So those things will help you a lot. If you have less time, if you have only 2 or 3 months, go ahead with two small projects, two big projects. That's it. If you have more time, go ahead with more, or go ahead with making a bigger project even bigger with more features based on your interest, or by talking to people and getting ideas from them on how to which feature they might like on this on the website. Okay. Then a very common project and a very good one as well. Many students build it, which is a chat application, a real-time communication application. So maybe you can build a basic chat application, a very small version of WhatsApp or Telegram or Slack or Discord. Maybe you can create video calling like Zoom or conference calls, YouTube Live. So you can do all of these using WebRTC and socket connections, web sockets. If you want to build a very good project out of it using WebRTC or basically real-time communication, interview collab tools are a very good project out of it. Basically, you can create a platform where people can interview other people, where there's chat, there's video, there's a whiteboard, there's a code editor. Basically, you build a chat application, you build a video calling application, and then you mix all of them, add whiteboard and editor to create the interview collab tool. So if you have time, if you want to build a very good project in real-time communication, this is the project that you should build. Interview collab tools. You can add a bunch of different stuff here. Like these are very small stuff that I'm talking about. There can be many things that you can add to this interview collab tools. This is also something that we are also building at workat.tech very soon. At a very small version, you can build it yourself. What I mean here is that we are not building it in the bootcamp. We are building it in our company. uh, Q&A platform. This is also a very good project. It will give you a very good idea about how to do database modeling on the backend, how to create good APIs. So some ideas would be Quora, Stack Overflow, Reddit, Discourse. There are many community-driven Q&A platform. Try to build a clone out of it. You do not need all the features, just a basic features of people being able to ask questions, people being able to answer questions, and maybe upvote, downvote. That's it. If you're able to build that, that's a very good project. You can add more features later, but that's a very good project to add in your resume. Social media platform, basic social media platform is something that you can definitely build in maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I'm talking about a very basic social media platform. Maybe where people can share images or videos or maybe textual posts as well. So they're just that's a very basic social media platform where people are able to share stuff. The second level of that is people being able to like stuff, people being able to comment stuff. Sorry, comment is third one. People able to like stuff, people able to share those stuff. Like from that social media platform, I should be able to share a link and people should be able to open that link and go to my media directly, maybe image, video, text, anything. Then a way to add comments, then a way to send notifications. So now I'm getting into the things that might take a very long time. The first 3 points here, these you can build in a month, even less than that. These will take a lot of time. So sending notifications, creating a news feed, uh, create making a way to create profiles and maybe follow each other, add as friends, send connection requests, different kinds of stuff that you can do. Do not create your own designs, just build a clone of whatever you like. Maybe Facebook, maybe Twitter, maybe Instagram, maybe LinkedIn, anything. uh, Last one, which can be very difficult, is having a personalized news feed. Basically everyone should be able to see different news feed based on their interests. So if you are able to do that, then you have a product of your own. E-commerce, this is the final project that we do in our bootcamp. We do not do social media, we do not do RTC and things like that. E-commerce is something that we do, and we spend 2 weeks on that, and that's our major project. So what's the idea behind an e-commerce project? An e-commerce website is a place where you can buy stuff. That's an e-commerce website. Basically, the website is selling something, maybe a good, maybe a service, and you are able to buy that. Even workat.tech is an e-commerce website because you are able to buy courses from here. Amazon is a e-commerce website. Swiggy is a e-commerce website. Make My Trip, Oyo, Grofers, Coursera, all of these are e-commerce websites only. So basically, the idea here is to create a website where you are selling some goods or service and people are able to buy that. That's an e-commerce website, and that's what I want you to create. If you're able to do that, you can consider that your resume would be shortlisted at most places. If you're able to do it yourself, not by following some tutorial. What are the things that are required here? Backend, frontend, session management, database, very good database modeling, You'll learn good database modeling out of it. You'll learn how to create cart. You'll learn how to create, how to do checkout, how to integrate payments on your website, how to manage orders, how to basically the entire e-commerce funnel. E-commerce funnel is not a simple thing. Like companies are struggling with that. Companies are struggling to optimize the e-commerce funnel. If you get a good idea of it at this stage while in college, or while you're not working at a product based company, that thing can help a lot in your resume. That thing can help your resume get shortlisted at most places, because most people do not know this. So it will help you a lot. It will help you learn a lot of different stuff if you're able to do this. uh, I would consider you a software developer, and most companies would do the same. So these are the bigger project ideas that I had to talk about. There could be different other ideas as well, high level ideas, but these are the major ones that I feel that if you are able to do maybe two out of these bigger project ideas, then your resume is very good. Like it's good enough to be shortlisted by most product based companies. Other good project ideas, maybe expense or account management like Splitwise or Walnut or Khatabook or different stuff. Maybe you can read SMS as well, do different kind of stuff, do some kind of automation like there's Cred which reads email. Uh, there are different fintech applications which read email to get the mutual fund statements and so on. Maybe you can try those things out. Just tinker with different apps, tinker with different websites, and get ideas from them. Like, can you build this? Whenever you're looking at a website, think about it. Can I build this? Can I build a mini version of this? If yes, then start building. I'm talking about only in terms of learning. If you want to build a startup, then this might not work out. If you're only looking for learning and adding projects to your resume, these ideas are pretty good enough. Maybe you can build a fantasy sports application like Dream 11 where people are able to select players and maybe add money through Paytm or anything of that sort, and are able to play with one another. It might not be legal or stuff, I don't know. Just for learning, you can definitely build it. Project management, Trello is a very good application that you might want to build if you want to basically get better at front end development. So Trello is a pretty good example of that. If you don't know what Trello is, just Google for it, and uh, you'll get a basic idea of what it looks like. So it looks something like this. It's taking a lot of time. Yeah. So you can drag and drop stuff from anywhere. You can add properties, you can add images, you can add links, you can do a lot of different kind of stuff. So Trello is a very good project idea that you might want to pick up if you are very much interested in UI design and front end development. Visualizer, many students actually already build this. Basically a way to visualize some popular algorithms. It's a very good project. It will help you revise DSA as well, and will also help you in your development journey. Then maybe you can build a content. Sorry. Maybe you can build a content management system. Uh, Basically, a content management system is something that people can use to create content and manage it. Let's say you create a platform where people can create their own blog. So that's a content management system. Like Medium is a content management system. Substack is a content management system. Ghost is a content management system. You can create your own management system as well. You can use an MD editor. Just search for it. What you see is what you get editor. There's a popular what you see is what you get editor named CK editor. You can try it out. Use it to create your own content management system. It would be a pretty good uh, project that you uh, might might take up. So I'll just show you an example. So this is kind of a content management system that we have on our website. Basically, a notes application where you can create your own notes. So this is CK editor that we are using here. You can create something similar, or maybe you can create a way to for people to write blogs. Different stuff that you can try. Note taking application, the one that I showed you, you can create maybe something similar to Notion, or maybe something similar to Google Keep, different stuff that you can try out. Matchmaking application, Tinder clone is a very good project that you might want to try out. It will help you a lot in front end, back end, data modeling, and good design as well. So there are a lot of different project ideas that you might want to try out. I've only talked about high level ideas because specifics is something that you should decide. That's what will differentiate your projects from other people. Like if everyone is going to make the same thing, there would not be any differentiator. So take any of these high level ideas and pick a very specific version of it. Let's say for e-commerce, someone might want to take up big basket, someone might want to take up Mintra, someone might want to take up uh, let's say Coursera or Udemy. So Udemy, uh, big basket, Mintra, these three clones were created in the first batch of bootcamp by three different people. We didn't tell them that you build this, we just told them build an e-commerce website. uh, so basically you can pick up any of these ideas and maybe search for your own as well, but pick up the ones that already exist if you are just doing it for your resume. So these are my suggestions regarding the project ideas, but I would like to know your insights. If anyone has any ideas that I might have missed, please let me know. If you have any questions, just let me know, I'll answer all your questions. I think there are many questions already in the chat, I'll pick them up. uh, okay. Before going into the questions, just one thing. We are now on Discord. You can join us. You can join our Discord server by going to this link, workat.tech/Discord. This Saturday, we are having a group mentorship session for third year and final year students. Next week, we'll have group mentorship session for first and second year students. And after that, we'll have for working professionals as well. So definitely join the server. And let's see you on Saturday uh, in the group mentorship session. For now, I will be taking up the questions. Arvind, can you share this on chat as well? Okay, so I see a question here regarding development. I want to start with front-end. I am already familiar with HTML and CSS, but when it comes to contributing existing front-end project, I somehow not able to contribute. So, Akash, start with the basic project ideas that I talked about. Leave existing projects, start with the basic project ideas, build comfort in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Then you might want to pick up existing project ideas or existing front-end projects. Because unless you have comfort, it will seem overwhelming and you won't be able to contribute. So this is a good question. If I don't have good achievement in DSA or CP to put in resume, what can I do in development field to stand out? Build any two of these good bigger project ideas. If you do that, your resume would definitely stand out. Uh, if I'm focusing on front-end job, building clones without backend will be fine. Yes, that would be totally fine. But try to use APIs if possible. Try to use public APIs and try to build clone. Try to use those to build the clones. Like without the APIs, you would not be a complete front end developer. If you are using the APIs and using it in your website, then that will be really helpful. How many clone projects should we build for resume? Two big ones. That should be enough. If you want to build more, you can do that. But you might also want to add features to your existing bigger projects as well. So Praful has been giving a lot of good answers on chat. You can follow that. Should we take system design seriously while making big projects like e-commerce? No. When you are building a small project, like it's definitely a big project like e-commerce, but still the scale is very small. Like very few people are going to use it, or no one is going to use it since you are building it for learning. Their system design won't make much sense. It's the main concepts that we cover in system design is mostly for large scale systems, not for small scale systems. Does responsiveness of a project matter? For people who do not know what responsiveness is, responsiveness means basically, uh, irrespective of the screen size, your website should look good. Basically, if you are using a mobile version of your website, then it should look good on a mobile. If you are using the desktop version, it should look good as well. Basically, irrespective of the screen size, your website should look good. Definitely, it matters a lot. If you are applying for front end roles, your project should be responsive. Uh, so someone asked Flutter app development. I'm not sure. Okay, what about Flutter app development? So whatever I covered as of now, I mentioned uh, basically web development. You can do the same things for app development as well. That's also fine. That is also a place that you might want to consider. Like web development or app development, both are very, very good. So you can try out Flutter app development as well if you are interested in mobile development. When will the next bootcamp be open for registration? We'll announce it soon. It's not finalized yet. How can I practice LLD for interviews? You can go to workat.tech/practice. If you go there, you'll get LLD questions that you can prepare for interviews. If you are a fresher, you do not need this. But if you have graduated and still applying for SD1 roles, you need to do LLD practice. Otherwise, no, not required. So Arham gave a very good idea for Flutter. Just make clones of two big applications. Create smaller clones of two bigger applications. Same thing that we talked about for websites. Uh, will will these clone projects be enough to get internship at a good company like Amazon? It will definitely help get your resume shortlisted, but clearing the interview requires DSA. If you are appearing for Amazon, it will require you to know DSA as well. But these projects will definitely help your resume get shortlisted. If you have built the projects yourself, if you have written the code yourself, you can copy the design but not the code. So Praful answered it. Problem solving plus projects is equal to good software developer. I started DSA right now in fifth semester, so I have one question. It is not too so late. DSA would require you 2 to 3 months, or maybe maximum 4 months. If you are putting in a lot of effort every day, 4 months is more than enough for DSA. I'm talking about interviews at top product-based companies, excluding Google, DirectEye, Tower Research, Sprinkler, and maybe a coordination. Apart from that, for all other top product-based companies, 4 months is enough for DSA. Okay, I don't see any more questions now. If you have any questions, please send on chat. Meanwhile, please join the Discord server. It's at workat.tech/discord. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. If you have not liked the video till now and you are still here, why not liking it? Please like it. What's the fee structure of SD Bootcamp? Not yet finalized. We'll announce that soon. So Arvind has shared the link on chat as well. It's workat.tech/discord. I'm open to take more questions. Maybe uh, I can extend it to 10 minutes now if there are questions. Otherwise, we can end the session in a while. So if you do not have any questions, maybe you can just ask any question not related to this as well. I am fine with that as well. But while resume shortlisting at product-based companies, do recruiters go to look at the code of your project? They might not as well. Like if you are competing with people who do not have any projects, then having decent projects in your resume will anyway get you shortlisted. But if there's a lot of competition, they might even look at your code, they might look at your demo. So always when you're applying, your resume and your LinkedIn should have all the demo links, should have all the code links. Never avoid those things. Always add code and demo link for all your projects. So Arvind has shared the link to the article that I've opened right now. It's workat.tech slash project hyphen ideas. You can also find it by going to resources, and then awesome project ideas. Oh, very good question. I forgot to mention it earlier. Uh, so I'm sharing it on comment right now. So we have created this repository. This contains free resources for learning web development. So these resources are what we built upon for our bootcamp as well. So you can use the same resources that we used uh, to learn web development. So basically, learn web development from here and then create your project. In resume, our project should be unique. Not necessarily. It's just that you should have written the code yourself. That's enough. Like basically, your when you write the code yourself, when you create the project yourself, even if it's not unique, people will be able to identify whether you have done it on your own or not. I'm not focusing on competitive programming rather than I'm focusing on pure DSS skill. And about project point of view, I work. So it's totally right. DSA plus projects, either app development or web development, both are fine. It's just that you need to be a good problem solver and you need to know development. That's it. If you are doing that, that's enough. Okay. Does language matters? As currently I joined a company working on .NET Vue.js. This should be enough. Like if you know .NET and Vue.js, both are fine. Like if you know Vue.js, you can move to React pretty easily at your new company. If you know .NET, you can move to Java pretty easily at the new company. So most big companies use Java and React as their backend and frontend. For startups, it would mostly be Python or Node.js, but moving to that is also pretty easy. Like moving to .NET or Java is much difficult compared to moving to Python or .NET. Sorry, Node.js. So if you know both of these, you can definitely move to any of the things that you want. Can you please explain about machine coding round and if fresher graduates should prepare for it? So machine coding round for freshers is required in few companies like Swiggy, Uber, Udan. There are certain companies that require machine coding round from freshers as well. Flipkart is one company that does machine coding round, but it only does for lateral hires, not for fresh hires. Like in college, they do a DSA round, but after college, they do a machine coding round. At many companies, you might have the machine coding round as well. Does doing DSA in JavaScript is fine? Many around internet saying is so. If you're appearing only for front end roles, DSA in JavaScript is fine. There's one drawback though, that while you're appearing for online test on maybe HackerRank or similar platforms, it's possible that that question might not allow JavaScript. Like it might only allow C, C++, Java. That would happen in the very rare case if you're only applying for front end developer roles. But it's better like for most companies for front end developer roles, DSA in JavaScript should be fine. In companies coding rounds, DSA question is in story format or in classical DSA question like lead code. During the interview rounds, it's classical DSA question like lead code, but during the coding test, you might have a story format. So if you do some practice on it, you will be able to understand how to convert the story into proper requirements, proper classical DSA question, and then you already know how to solve the classical DSA question if you have done lead code practice. So some practice is required here. For Amazon SG intern position, do they consider resume with DSA focused or dev focused? So basically, they are looking for resumes that are differentiated from others. So DSA focused, dev focused does not matter. In your interview, you will be tested on your DSA skills. So having any of these is fine as long as your resume is good. Is competitive programming required for getting job as a fresher? No. Uh, so you can search for is competitive programming necessary for interviews. You'll get workat.tech link. Basically, I've written an article on this. You'll get that link at the top. Just go through it and you'll get an idea. Just search for the same thing on Google. You'll get an article written by me. I've worked on mean stack, but most companies are hiring for Java developers. Do I need to learn Spring as well? So if you are looking for Java developer roles, then you might want to learn Spring. Otherwise, there are a lot of companies which hire for MERN stack or mean stack developer roles. So if you are specifically applying for a technology-based role, then apply to the right roles. Like top product based companies do not hire for technology roles, but startups and many mid-sized companies do, service based companies do. So for that, there are so many companies. You can find so many companies on angel list. Just see for the roles that match your technology stack. So Alvin has shared the link of basically is competitive programming required for interviews. You can go through it in it's in chat. Okay, so we have 3 more minutes. Any more questions? I hope that everyone has subscribed to the channel and has liked the video. If you are still here, you definitely like the video, I'm sure. Uh, does GSOC and decent full stack projects also, but didn't get shortlisted even once for Amazon SD intern position? Uh, Send me your resume. Send me your resume on WhatsApp. Maybe I'll be able to help you out on that. Generally that should not happen. So it's possible that Amazon was not hiring from your college, or you applied for a wrong role. Maybe you were in second year and you applied for an internship for third year. Might, I'm not sure. Just send me your resume and we can discuss more on it. How much tech stack knowledge matters for 1+ years experience? If you're applying for a top product based company or even any kind of product based company, if you have some development experience, it won't matter because uh, companies would know that if you know how to develop stuff, you will be able to learn any other tech stack and you'll be able to develop stuff after that. Okay. Uh, like we have another 2 minutes. Before we end the session, I would like to know your thoughts on what should we talk about next week. So I'm planning to do a session every Wednesday or every Thursday. Just send me your ideas on chat and also on comments after the session is over. Just let me know whatever you want me to talk about and we'll discuss that. Meanwhile, I have another 1 minute. We can take one or two more questions. Okay, can you please share your LinkedIn profile link? You can just search for my name on LinkedIn and you'll get it. So my name is Gaurav Chandak. Let me share my LinkedIn profile then. Okay. Alvind already shared it. You can uh, basically go from here. Okay. I think we are done for today. Last question, maybe. Last question. No. Okay. So join the Discord channel, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the video. Let's see you next week. Uh, we'll talk about some other topic, whatever you guys want me to talk about, and see you on Saturday in the group mentorship session. Basically, what the group mentorship session is, you can ask me anything related to interview prep, job search, or anything related to your career, and I'll answer that, irrespective of how much time it takes. I'll answer that, and I'll try to make it very, very interactive so that everyone can benefit out of it. So that will happen on Discord. It won't happen on YouTube. It will happen on Discord. Like we'll do it on the stage. Everyone who wants to ask a question will be invited on the stage, and you can ask your question there. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So see you on Saturday and next week as well. Bye.